In this next video I'm going to talk about the backswing plane versus the downswing plane. This video is huge. If you're struggling for consistency, you're not going to want to miss this video. This is just what you're after. You're going to learn the big difference and how it's going to help you play better golf. Sound good? Keep watching. Hi, it's Troy from Hitting It Solid here. Thanks for watching. So let's talk about this backswing plane versus a downswing plane. This is really key to you playing better golf. I guarantee you if you're struggling in any way with your golf game, you're probably getting one of these two areas wrong. So let's talk about, first of all, our backswing plane. So this is generally what most golfers are aiming to do, but there are some that do it a little bit differently. If this is my target line, just where this alignment stick is here, most good golfers with their backswing plane will generally take the club up like this in a steeper sort of fashion here. And what they'll do is, as they start their backswing, they'll normally get to the end of their takeaway about here, then they'll hinge up and then keep turning to finish their backswing. Now, there are some golfers that turn a lot flatter than that. Someone like a Sergio Garcia or a Matt Kuchar come to mind. They turn on more of a one-plane golf swing, and what I mean by that is, as they turn away, they get the club a lot flatter and flatter at the top there. A little bit different. Obviously it works extremely effective for them, but most golfers, most really good golfers, will generally, for their backswing plane, they'll generally go back and they'll hinge up and turn, and they'll make a bit more of a steeper backswing. That's generally what their plane will look like. Now, I've got a really simple exercise or a drill, if you like, you can practice to get this backswing plane of yours on track. Because if you're someone that does this, and drop a comment down below if you are, most golfers get wrong with their backswing plane is when they get to this end of the takeaway, they'll pull the club inside, break their wrists, and they'll sort of turn up and they're trying to make compensations from there on in for the rest of the golf swing. So the key on this backswing is making sure the end of that takeaway on your backswing plane, you hinge up and then you keep turning. Really important you hinge up in that backswing plane. Now here's a great little checkpoint you can do. Grab an alignment stick. You can do this with another club. Enable about, I'm just using this for visual purposes, but enable about a foot at the end of the butt of the club. Make a backswing. Now this is some real key here. What I want to see is this pointy end of this alignment stick either pointing at my target line or inside it on this area here. And if I do that, you can see I'm pointing somewhere roughly down that target line. If I can do that, or stay inside it, once we get up to about this spot here, we know we're in pretty good shape with our backswing. What we want to avoid doing is pulling it inside and getting this pointing way out there, or way too steep and having it point out there. So if you can get this little pointy end of this alignment stick pointing somewhere down the target line or a little bit inside, just about there somewhere, you know your backswing is on a pretty good plane. Alright, so that's our backswing plane. Let's talk about this downswing plane. Alright, so the downswing, this is the real key. This is the really exciting part that you want to watch, where I see most golfers going wrong. So the downswing plane, this is completely different from the backswing plane for most golfers. Now I mentioned earlier that those players like Sergio and Matt Kuchar that came down, went back very flat and came down very shallow. The downswing part is absolutely spot on. We want to be coming down on that shallower plane like that. 90% of golfers I see that are getting this wrong, struggling for consistency, you might be one of them. On your downswing, your plane might be coming down like this. Almost guarantee it, it's coming down steep. Rather than this, it'll be coming down steep, so it's a very steep downswing plane. That's where most golfers are getting it wrong. So the key is, if we've made a good backswing, we've got that butt end of that club somewhere in this line here. For the downswing, we want to do just the opposite. Let's grab our alignment stick again. Now it's not a huge difference in terms of where this is pointing. We ideally want this pointing either again at this alignment stick, our target line, or even better, slightly outside it. And what that does is that will shallow out your downswing and get you in the optimal position to hit solid golf shots. So here's what it looks like. Let's get to our top position. We've made our good backswing. Now as we come down, you can see here, we want this alignment stick pointing either at the alignment stick there, our target, or somewhere out here above it. If we do that, we know we're on a really good downswing plane and a great chance of making solid contact. So here we go. As we come down, and then we're getting into that nice impact position there. That's ideally what downswing plane you want to be getting into to hit solid shots. What you want to avoid at all costs, have a look at your swing on video, your downswing, and this will really reveal what you are doing. Most golfers, as I said, come down like this. Have a look where that alignment stick is pointing. It's pointing on the inside, which is fine for your backswing, but for your downswing, this is a no-go zone. You do not want to do that. As soon as you're there, you're having to stand up out of your posture, flip the club, or do all sorts of compensations to make solid contact with the golf ball. So really important. So just to summarise the backswing plane versus the downswing plane, as we make our backswing, try to keep that alignment stick. Make sure we hinge up in the backswing. Make sure it's pointing somewhere inside or at the alignment stick. On the way down, we want that alignment stick to be pointing at or above it. And we're in a great spot there. Now on that downswing plane, a great little key for you to remember, I'll give you a couple of keys. I'll just get rid of that. Just a couple of little things to think about to help you shallow it out and get a better downswing plane. As you get to the top, try to feel like that right elbow moves underneath your left. So somewhere like this, try to feel like that right elbow moves underneath the left. That'll shallow it. And also try to feel like that lead wrist, your left wrist, just bows a little bit like that. So here's straight, that's cupped, and that's bowing. Try to get a little bit of bow in that downswing. As we turn, a little bit of bowing, that'll help shallow it out. Get into that great impact position. There you go. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Click and watch the video on your screen now. It's going to go into more detail about the right hip in the golf swing, which ties in really well with this video. If you want to learn how to play amazing golf, consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any other further questions or comments, please let me know. I will get back to every single one of you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.